Yep, good evening. Yesterday, we started discussing about non-primitive data types. In that, I given you introduction about array. What we discussed about array is arrays will reduce overhead and complexity. How they will reduce overhead? So array reduce overhead by storing values in sequential order, right? And they reduce complexity by storing multiple values under one name. That is the purpose of these options, right? So we have to handle arrays. Arrays can reduce overhead and arrays can reduce complexity. Already I told you what is overhead and what is complexity. So JavaScript array, as I already told you, JavaScript array can store various types of values. Who is this? Others, audible to others, na? Right? Am I audible to others? Right. So here JavaScript array can store various types of values. And another point, JavaScript array size can change dynamically. That is the point, right? So reducing overhead, reducing complexity, and we discussed that JavaScript array can handle various types of values. Now, important is how the arrays are handled in our HTML and presentation, how we manage that, we will see. Already I told you that in your technologies, array may have a problem in allocating different types of memory. That is the reason they restrict array for similar type. But that is not for all technologies, right? There are so many technologies where array can be different types. And array size can change dynamically. So now what we have to learn here is, first step is how do we store values? That means configuring array. How to configure array means how do we declare and define array. So array configuration comprises of two phases. Array configuration comprises of two phases. One is declaration. Another one is initialization of memory. Initialization or assignment of memory. Array contains two phases. One is declaration, another one assignment of memory. Compulsory. So actually declaration is same like declaration is same as general variables. Declaration same as general variables, like what we do where some products, that is declaring where or let categories, like this. Declaration is same, but it is not enough. What we have to do is we have to initialize. Initialization or assignment of memory is mandatory. After declaring or while declaring, initialization and assignment is compulsory. You know, initialization means at the time of declaring. Assignment means after declaring. After declaring. So memory, how memory is defined? Memory is assigned or initialized for array by using two methods. We have two methods. One, by using square brace, it is meta character. Another, by using array constructor. We call this as array constructor. Array constructor. So where products is equal to square brace, this makes an array. So initialization of memory is compulsory, and memory initialization is done with meta character. With meta character. What is difference we will see. It is done with meta character. Here important point is we can define this. This is initialization, or there is another technique which already we know. We have where products, that is declaring. After that, products can be assigned. This is assignment, you know it. Memory initialization or assignment is compulsory, otherwise you cannot store anything in array, right? So array can be stored in this way, or you can define in another way, where products is equal to new array. This is initialization. Assignment means you can define, so products is equal to new array. This is assignment. Same. But the question here is, what is difference between the meta character and the array constructor? Difference is nothing but what array constructor can do. What is the meaning of this? Already we learned regular expression. What that does meta character means? It means that allows range of values, or you can also say allows multiple values, range of values or multiple values. Now, what is the meaning of array? This, so we have the word new. The meaning of that is actually new is nothing but new is dynamic memory allocating operator. New is called dynamic memory allocating operator. Dynamic memory allocating operator. That means it allocates memory. Memory of what type? Number type, string type, Boolean type, null type. What type memory? The memory type is decided by array. This array constructor, we call this as constructor. That means this empty parenthesis, you see this empty parenthesis. What it will do is it creates an array in memory. It creates an array in memory. So what new is doing? Allocating memory. In that allocated memory, array is created. Array is created by this method. So this parenthesis is called constructor. We call that empty parenthesis as, this is called as constructor. We call as constructor. Let's keep this clean. That is called as constructor. We call it as constructor. That is constructor. This is constructor. Constructor purpose is to construct an array in memory. And the memory is allocated by new operator. So we can allocate, we can create memory, we can store array in that memory. And one more advantage of this is, so it allows size. It allows size. That means while constructing array, you can define size. That means how many values can be stored. But already we discussed it, but size is not constant. Am I right? It is not constant. We can change. Array size can be changed dynamically, but in other technologies, you cannot. In other technologies, once you mention array size, it is fixed. You cannot store more than what the size you define. But here, you can define size. We can store more than the size defined also. That depends on requirement. So array can be declared and array must be assigned with memory. So array requires declaration and initialization of memory. Only declaring will not be enough. Assigning or initializing memory is compulsory. And you can assign or initialize memory by using meta character or by using array constructor. So technically it defines like this. Syntactically, where products is equal to array, or where categories is equal to new array. Like this we can define. That is how we can configure an array. Declaration and initialization of memory is compulsory, right? Okay, now after declaring and configuring, how values are stored in array. That means the next step is storing values in array. So we configured the array here. So this is configuring array. After configuring array, how do we store value into array? Second one, storing value into array. How to store value into array? Actually, the values, so values are stored in array, with reference of its property. Its reference of its property. Values are stored in array with reference of its property. This is very important again. Actually, what does that means? I will show you. See, generally what happens is, when you allocate the memory, you can see generally when we are allocating the memory here. When you are allocating the memory for array, that means when you define array, where suppose where some values I am giving, values is an array. When you define array, memory is allocated for array. In that memory, it have to store several values. Then it will create multiple divisions inside it. That means the array will create several divisions in the memory. In the memory, these divisions are defined with index number 0, 1, 2. Actually, this 0, 1, 2 is index. That is the index number. So memory index is 0, 1, 2. But actually, this memory have a reference called 0, which is called property. This is property. We have 1, that is property, and this is 2, this is property. We call these as, this is property. Generally, many times when people learn about arrays, what they think about array is they are storing values using index, but no. In array, values are stored or accessed not by index, by using property. And property is a string, it's not a number. But the property name will be same name as index name. That is the reason people think that it is index. We will prove that point that it is not index, right? See, that means generally anybody who learnt about array, they know that values are stored with reference of index number, but not exactly. Values are not stored with index number, values are stored with property. Property and index look similar. That's the reason people are confused and they think that it is index number. It's not index number. Let's see here. Let's prove that point actually. Suppose see now here, we will create a simple structure here. Yeah. You see here, I am storing some values here. So this is new array. Some values are stored inside it. Now, actually, by seeing this, many people think that this is index number, right? But it is not index number. See what I am doing. I am writing 1 as a string type. I am writing 3 as a string type. Here I will change the name as David. And you can see I am running this. I am running this. You can see it's working. It's working. Not only that, I will show you more clear logically. We will see here. Actually, I will show you more clear logically here. I am writing a I am writing here some logic. Don't worry what I am writing, just see. I am writing a logic to read every property. So in values, okay, we will print here document.write. We will print the property, and we will also print the type of property. That means here we will print type of property, and we will print the value. We'll print the value. That means values of property. And I will print here its data type also. I will print its data type. Its data type is type of values of property. Don't try to understand this. You can't understand, right? Just see the point. That's it, right? Now here I am writing some logic to get all the properties and all. You observe here, when I refresh here, you see here I am using this, and you see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all string. And in the value inside is number, boolean, string, number. But 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are not numbers, they are string. So there is no point of index numbers here. But you see, in software technologies, so many things are morphed for your understanding sake, right? They are morphed for your understanding sake. That means to make you understand clearly, easily, they will change the topic little bit. Due to that, the main concept is misguided. You will miss. Why everybody don't try to explain the main concept as it is? Because any 1-2 people unable to understand that concept, then immediately they will say that I don't understand what he is explaining. So no trainer in the world wants to take this risk that tell something in depth and he don't understand and take blame on him that he is unable to explain. Nobody wants this nonsense. So simply everybody will tell you in the way how you understand it, and they say that go, that's enough for you, right? Why they don't try to explain its architectural level? Because many people will be confused, many people cannot understand, many people think that this is too much in depth going into the concept. For such people anything is useless to explain. Trainer always keeps that in mind, that we don't give in detail depth concept about the topic, he will be confused. If he confused, he will not blame on himself, he will blame on the faculty, saying that whatever he is explaining I can't understand. Nobody wants to take that risk. That is the reason they will just explain you in a simple way how you can understand it, and he will explain you in a similar way how many people know about it, right? So that you will say that okay, I understood the concept. You are very much satisfied by yourself, but you don't know that it is not the correct point. That is where you will face issues. When you go to the companies, you are working for issues, right? When you go to companies, when you are working on issues, many people cannot handle. That means in software companies, lot of mental pressure will be there, lot of, for people who are working on real world scenarios, right? Lot of pressure will be there, right? It's not like so you can enjoy fully do software jobs. It cannot it cannot happen. It's very risky, right? Lot of mental pressure you have to take, because sometimes problem comes, you can't track the problem where it is, and clients will be behind you that why you haven't done till now, right? So every day this risk will be there in software companies. So software jobs are not easy mentally, right? You have to take lot of mental pressure, patience, lot of mental pressure is required. That is the reason many people quit, right? They can't survive. Even you get job, right? So after working 1 2 years, you will say that why I came to this software industry, right? At least after 1 year, every day at least once you will realize that why I came to software industry. But you will not quit, you will continue. You will not quit, you will continue, right? So but after 10 20 years of working in this, then you will decide that okay, I can do something else. Till now whatever I earned is enough, this is enough. Now because after that uh, they can't take that pressure much, very complicated. So that is the reason, even while we deliver training to people, we don't generally, other people don't take risk of detailed explanation of any topic, because it is always risky. Any one person unable to understand, he writes a review, because you know na, a any a dumb person who don't know anything about movie, he writes a review on movie. Uh, you know, right? Zero knowledge, ask him to direct a movie, he can't do anything, he don't know what it is, but everyone writes a review. This is good, this is bad. What, you have that caliber that you are writing a review on a faculty, that he don't teach well, he will teach well? This is all rubbish, right? What do you think of yourself? That means your knowledge is more than the person who is training you, and you are reviewing a faculty. After all, who are you? What is your knowledge to write a review on others? It is not just because you are unable to understand a concept. See, real time developers will be there, 10 years 20 years explaining. Real time developers working in companies, they have good reputation, they come to train people, When they come to train people, they fail. Majority people fail because working in real time and training is lot different. In training, so they can't train. You bring a 20 years experience person and ask him to train people, so 90% bad remarks will be there. He can't train, but he will solve every problem, because the problem is, for training you have to explain level by level procedure, and at any level if student feels difficulty, then he will say that I cannot understand him. And now what trainer will do, that step he will remove. Why unnecessarily to explain him this and take a bad remark, right? We will simply remove this point and we will explain him. That is the reason many times you will be diverted in the concept. You will not get exact definition about it. Lot of morphing will be happening, but that is okay while learning, but not great for working. You cannot resolve problems. If you know everything architecturally correct, then you can easily resolve the issues, easily resolve the problems. Ask everybody who learned about array. He will tell you about similar type of values only. Ask everybody about array. He will tell you that array size cannot be changed dynamically. But ask anybody, he will tell you that arrays are stored with index number. But not. We are proving here, right? We are proving here that these are not numbers, these are strings. So technically, values are stored in an array with reference of property. And very important, property, array property maps to its index number. Understood? It maps to index number. That means how it will be: property is 0, property is 0, right? And it maps to index. Index is 0. That means what we do, we write values of 0. You think that it is number, but actually it is values of 0. This is actually. But you don't need to write the quotes. Even you don't write the quotes, it will take it as string. It will not take it as number, because here I haven't written any quotes here. You see, I haven't used any quote. I have used the string type only in 1 and 3, but it is saying everyone is string, because property, every property string only. In that you can store different type. So values are stored temporarily. I will give you this program just for your understanding sake. Later I will explain how to write such programs. So here, to store values in array, what you need? You don't need an index, you need a property. Values are stored with the reference of property. And very important is, you can store any type of value in array. You can store any type of value in array. That means many times people ask, like, can I store an array in array? Can I store an function in array? You can store anything, because array is memory. Array is memory. In that memory you can store anything. You can store anything in the memory. That means you can see here any type of value. See, I will do like this now. You can directly initialize where values is array. We can use array constructor or meta character. So I will do one thing. Directly you can initialize values here. You can initialize values like this, or you can also define values of 0. In 0, I am storing a number. Okay. Or I can write like directly like this. Here I can put 10. That is at 0. And I am defining as a string. So this is like say TV. That is string. After that, we have true. This is Boolean. After that, I have again array. In this array, we have again a string. So that is Delhi. Again a string. So that is Hyderabad. Like this, we are storing the values. Now here, after that, I am defining a function. I am writing a function inside it. This function contains document.write hello. It contains hello. You can store anything in array. Now the question is how to access this Hyderabad. How to access that Hyderabad and use it. So document.write array is values. Values of what is it? Property. First one is 0. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. So it is 3. At 3, what is this array? How to access an array at 3? This is referring to 3 memory. In 3 memory, we have an array. In that array, 0 is Delhi, 1 is Hyderabad. That is how we access. That's how we access. That means it is going to get that and it is displaying it. You can have anything. You can have array inside that array, another array, anything. So here, suppose how to access this function. So I will put a br at the end. Okay, how to access a function? Document.write. We have values of 4. At 4, there is a function. Function is accessed with a parenthesis like this. Because this is the memory, 4 memory. In that memory, you have a function. And function is accessed here. So that is the function reference. Function reference. That means it will access that function and return. Why it is saying undefined? Because when you are accessing the function already contains document write. So you don't need again document write. Understood? So what you have to do, just we have to call the function. How? Values of 4 and function. That's it. This is calling the function. It will return only hello. That's how we define array. That means we can store any type of value in array. So any type of value in array. So it can be primitive or non-primitive. It can be primitive or non-primitive. Any type you can store. Or a function. You can store a function also into it. This is example. We can store any kind of value and we can define, right? So declaring array, initializing memory, and storing values into array with reference of properties. Next, how we can read values from array. That means we have to learn about array manipulations. Array manipulations. For array manipulations, we have a lot of methods. Just like string manipulation have methods, array manipulation also have a lot of methods. First, we will see how we can read array elements. How to read array elements. Let's see how we can read. To read array elements, we have so many things. We can use toString. We can use join. We can use slice. So we can use find. So we can use filter. We can use map. These are all used for reading array elements. We can use for iterator. We can use for iterator. We can use for loops. We can use for loops and iterator. What is iterator loop? I will tell you. So to read value from array, You can use all these things. Different situation, depending on different situation, we can manage all this. So reading array elements, you can read by using all this. Actually, in order to read array element, we have to use the index number, right? We have to use the index number mapping. This is property which maps to the index. What is the property? 3. It is mapping to its index. This is individually we are accessing. If we want to access all, then see, suppose I given here where categories is an array. We have electronics, so we have footwear, so we have like fashion, something like this. Now what we have to do, access all these and display, then document dot write, we can use categories dot toString. What toString will do is it returns all these array elements separated with commas. That means it will return all the elements separated with commas. That means you can access all of them separated with commas by using toString. This is an example for that. It can access using it. What join will do is, join uses, it uses comma. This is the delimiter, right? It uses delimiter. What join will do is it uses custom delimiter. Delimiter custom means your own separator. You can use your own separator. Just what you can do is, here you can write join, and here we can put our own separator, and you can see it returns that with the own separator. We can keep our own separator, so that we can do by using join. Join uses the custom delimiter. We can use slice. Slice can slice from particular property to, that is actually property will backend slice based on index. So how do we define here? Already we learned slice in string. Already we done that in string. Here we have to just use the slice. Slice index number. So number is how many? 1. So 1 to 2. That means it will not include 2. It will be only 1 to 1. That means the 2 is not included, right? Actually, this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2. 2 is not included. It will read from 1 and stop at 2. So without including that, that means it is going to read only that footwear, right? We can extract based on that index number, and we can configure with the slice. Another option, we have find, filter, and map like options. Actually, find is nothing but, so it searches. It will search. It will search for value based on given condition and return the first occurrence value. It will search for value based on given condition and return the first occurrence value. It will return the first occurrence value. What does that means actually? See, what it will do is, suppose currently we don't have complex data. Later we will have complex data. As of now, we can try on simple. Later we can have complex data. Here I am using simple data like 34,000, 42, 43,000, 46,000, 23,000, like this. I want all the numbers. I want the number which is greater than 40,000. So in that case, later we will see complex data. Currently we can just see general. I want the value which is above 40,000. Then we just use here categories dot find. we use find. Find what? Find uses a callback function. That means you have to write a function inside. What this function will do is it will read every value. It will read every value in the collection. That means it reads every value in that collection and stores here. And we will return it will return the value only if it is greater than 40,000. That is the condition. That means what this find will do is it will take first value and it will pass this value into this reference. After that, it will verify is it matching or not. If it is not matching, it will check the second value. Understood? That means if it is not matching, it will send the second value. And this second value is matching with this condition. Then what it will do is it will return that value. It will return the value. After returning the value, it will stop. That means it will not check others. That means it is going to return only first occurrence value, which is matching with that condition. That means now what is the result of this? The result of this is one value. That means that one value I will store in a variable, right? Because we know that only one value is coming, we will store in a variable and we will print that here. Document.write whatever the value, and you can see only that value will come here, which is matching with that condition, right? You can define the condition in any way, right? Now suppose the same thing, actually find will return only one value. Find is going to return only one value. Filter, it is similar to find, but returns all values that match the condition. It will return all values that match the condition. So same, everything same, just you have to change this to what? Filter. But this time the result is an array. If result is an array, how to print that array? You know, I will use values. This is not value, it is values dot, we will use toString or join or something, we can use any. So then what happens here? You can see I am changing this to filter, and here I am just defining values and values dot toString, and it is going to return all the values that matches that condition. So what is difference between find and filter is this. You write, so less than, we write less than 40,000. It will return all the values which are less than 40,000. You can use multiple conditions also, right? Later we will learn conditions, operators and all. So find and filter are similar, just this is the change. Map is going to it is implicit iterator. It is implicit iterator. Implicit iterator means it reads every element, and presents using markup. It reads every element and presents using markup. You can use some markup for presentation. For example, simple. Suppose you see here, what we have to do is, suppose we have categories. In the categories, we have some electronics like footwear. So like fashion, something like this we are defining. And what I am doing, I am using categories dot map. Map uses a callback function. This function will read every value from that, and we can present that in a markup. You can use some markup here. We can use that markup. For example, see here, out, this is script. Later we can add in other techniques. Simply, I am just using an heading style. Heading style. In this heading style, I am just accessing dynamic value. That value is accessed. That means now what it will do is it will print all those categories as headings and display. What is it? Whatever the value here, that is, this is the value we need to print as a expression. What is happening here? It is unable to print. What is something problem? All the values are working fine. Some error is there. What is that error? Token error. Where is? So we have to return. Right. So actually, in order to use this return, what it is, return heading. So here we have the value backtick na. Because we cannot use on double quote and single quote na. We have to use backtick for returning the values, right? This is return. What is it is doing some problem here? Let's check. What we have used. Let's say categories dot map. It should work. So function. What's the function? It is taking the value, and we are creating a list item. List item in the list item. So we are printing that value here. This is returning the values. I will just use this. Somewhere we are missing. This is all not required actually. We will just see what is problem here at undefined token. We will do. We are not doing this. Suppose I will use a console log. It is returning every value. It's fine. I will do one thing. Just we will print document.write. We will print a output like this. What is that output? We have an heading 2 style. In this heading 2 style, we will keep value. Okay. Right. Yeah. Now you can see it is going to print all those headings. Right. Actually, what we can do is instead of doing this, means instead of using this, we can add into any another element inside the page that we will see in the next point. I will explain. That means we don't need to use this. We can just add this into any another element in the page. That means It may be ordered list, unordered list, or a drop down we can add. For that, I will show you now how we can manage. So technically, I can use anything as of now. I used a list item, right? I am configuring a list item here. Then it is going to print all those as list items. This is reading all elements and returning a markup. But we don't want to print like this, because if I want order list, unordered list, I want a drop down, then we have to create elements and add them dynamically. That is the key point that we will see here now. Now, this is okay, but this is not the right way of presentation. Why? Because we want to add to the existing page. Then how to do? So now what we will do here is we will create a simple document. In this document, so we will create an ordered list. Ordered list. Now into this ordered list, we need to load the categories. We have a script. In that we have var categories. Categories is an array. Categories is an array. What is that? It have electronics. It have footwear. So it have fashion like this. Okay. Now what we have to do is we have to read every value from this collection. What are the techniques we learned? We can use toString, it will read all. We can use join, it is also reading all. We can use map, it is also reading all. So map is an implicit iterator. We have explicit iterators. Explicit iterators are nothing but, actually, we have two explicit iterators. One is for. We have iterator for called in. For in is used to, it is used to read all properties. It is used to read all properties, not values. To read all values, we have for off. For off, it is used to read all values. We can read all properties and all values by using this operator. That means what we have to do, simple. When to do this body on load? Body on load, we write a function called body load. When body loads, we will write a function. What is it? Body load. On body load, we have to read every element from here. Then what we have to do? Here we need to create a for var item of collection. Collection is categories. This is called iterator. What iterator is going to do? It will read every item from this collection one by one, and it will store in the reference item. That means from the first index to last index, it will read all. After reading every item, what we have to do? We have to add that into this ordered list. How to add? How we can add into that ordered list? In order to add anything into an ordered list, actually it should be a list item. It should be a list item. That means every item what you can add into ordered list. Ordered list can contain only list item. That means now what we have to do is, for every item we have to create a list item. For every item we have to create a list item. Then how to do that? Var li is equal to, we have a method document.create element. Create element is used to create a new element of HTML dynamically. Any HTML element you can create by using create element. Which element we want to create? Li. So this element is created and you can access by using li. Now li is what type? List item type. In that I want to display some text. Already we learned HTML. list item, if you want to show anything in list item of HTML, we don't have any value or text like properties, because you already know list item. Generally list item can display inside container na. That means here it can display, here it can display. That means it is inner HTML. Am I right? List item dot inner HTML is equal to item. Item means what? The first item. First item is what? Electronics. That means we are reading electronics, we are storing that here, and we are adding into a list item. Now list item is ready. We have to add this list item into this ordered list. How to add an item into another item? How to add an element into another item? We have to access document.querySelector. If it is having ID, you can use ID. Which one? Ordered list. Into that, we need to add a list item. We have to use a method called append child. Append child. Which child item we have to render? Li. Li is the child element we have to render. That means it will create a list item. In that list item, it will store the category name, and it will add that list item into ordered list. Like that, it will do this work repeatedly 3 times until the categories are finished. That means now you can see finally all those options are here. That means 1, 2, 3. Now if I add one more item here, I am adding one more item here, and it is going to update. Now suppose I want this to display in a drop down. I want to display in a drop down. Then how? Same. For every item, this time we have to create an option. Am I right? Drop down contains options. And how to create an option? Document dot create element option. Okay. In option, if I want to display anything, it's not inner HTML, because you already learned HTML option contains 4 properties: text property, value property, disabled property, selected property. Remember that? Every option in HTML contains 4 properties: text, value, disabled, and selected. Text indicates what to show. Value indicates what to submit. And selected indicates by default it is selected. Disabled indicates it cannot be selected. Right? That means now for option, we need to define text. Text is item. For option, we have to define value. Value is also item. Now this option must be added into drop down. Then what we have to do? Document dot query selector into which one? Select. Into that select append child. Which one to add? Option. We have to define that. Now you can see it is added. That means we are adding the items dynamically into the list. Adding the items dynamically into the list. That means we are reading every item and we are adding every item into the list. This is only simple data. If there is complex data, we have to create tables, checkboxes, radios dynamically. We can create dynamically anything by using this technique, right? This is by using a simple iterator. We use the iterator for off. For off is an iterator to read every value. There is another iterator for in. It will not read all values. It will read all properties. Properties means what? Properties means 0, 1, 2, 3. Right? 0, 1, 2, 3 are the properties. Properties means index numbers. I told you na mapping. I don't want properties. I want values. Values are defined by using for off. For in is to read all properties. For off for reading all values. By using the same technique, we can read both values and properties also, that we will see. Now we have to learn these techniques of presentation, how to present in a table, how to present in a checkbox, how to present with radios, that we'll see next session, right? Tomorrow session will be very complex. Why? Because tomorrow we will learn the real world scenarios where arrays are really used, means how they are dynamically used with lot of examples, right? That we'll see in next session.